Welcome back to the Chosen Brothers podcast. My name's Jacob, and this is Dylan with me. We're just going to reflect a little bit on the last episode that we recorded. Hopefully, you guys watched it or listened to it, and then we'll kind of go back into some more questions. And we'll finish it off with some spark cards like we did last time. So, Dylan, do you have any reflection you want to talk about the last episode or anything in between?
I just thought it was a really it was nice just to get it out there and just do it because it's been something we've been talking about doing for a long time, and it's just sitting down, putting in the work, making it happen. And so I think that's my biggest reflection. It was just nice to make a plan, get it done, and keep going. Still haven't listened back to it completely from start to finish, listened to some clips and stuff like that, but I think that's going to happen over the next couple days. So I'm excited to do that and learn what we can do to get better. So another thing, while you guys are listening, and if you have any recommendations, please let us know so we can grow and become better podcasters and speakers just in general.
Yeah, I kind of echo that. I was happy to finally get a schedule going and get the episode actually recorded. Luckily, all the clips recorded, even though I started streaming them on Twitch by accident, but I was able to download them. So we are able to save the episode. We were able to save the episode, I should say.
Oh yeah, that was like
And,
at the end. I was just like, no, I don't
uh,
want to have to re-record this whole thing.
yeah, that would have been a nightmare. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm excited to go back and listen to it. I'm sure we say in like way too many
Yeah.
times, but I'm trying to keep a little mental note and mental block, I guess, kind of to stop myself from saying that while we're talking through these episodes. And hopefully, we don't have to cut them up as much as we continue to get better at this. So,
I would completely agree with that. I think I need to be more comfortable with silence when I need to just continue my thought and give it a little bit of time to process. I just need to be okay with stopping,
yeah,
not saying something for a second, and just taking a breath and keeping going. So, yeah.
a breath is very short, but it might seem like a long time when we're on this.
Yep. Yep. All right. Going into our first question. What do you currently struggle with the most?
Oh man, when you sent me this question, it took me a little bit of time to really figure out what it was, and once I started thinking about it, I th- what I struggle with the most is just like monotony in life, just doing the same thing over and over again. Especially last year with a 5K a day, I felt like by the end of the year, it was just getting very repetitive. And when you mix that into a daily life where you're working a 9 to 5 and not a lot changes, I wouldn't say I was like depressed, but I wasn't really in the best headspace at the end of the year. I felt like I didn't get enough out of what I was hoping to last year. I originally, a few years ago, had said that I wanted to run an Ironman by the time I turned 30. That's not going to happen. Um, and I think that coupled with just the monotony of the end of the year, um, breaking out of that routine, that schedule, is probably the hardest thing for me. And when I do, it's when I'm the most happy. Uh, Gabby and I have started trying to like go to basketball games if we get tickets, even if it's on a Wednesday night, 9 o'clock at night, or we started talking about if there's like a meteor shower that we hear on the news that's going to be that night and it's going to be clear. Even if we work the next day, like we should go do that. Even if we have to go to bed at 8 o'clock, set an alarm for midnight to wake up and go drive out of the city to go see it. Like
Mhm.
just little different things that kind of mix up your daily life. That, and even if people don't recognize it. I feel like that's a struggle for a lot of people, at least in America. We have this work life balance that just really doesn't benefit people's mental health. And if you just let yourself fall into that schedule, even if you think you have a good schedule, like I work out almost every day. I come home to Gabby, we eat good food, we exercise, we travel. I guess when we're traveling, it's a little better. I obviously don't feel like that's repetitive or monotonous or anything like that. Um, but yeah, that's what I would say my biggest struggle is. I won't go on a super long rant because I feel like I'll start repeating myself, but that's where my
I
mind went.
I completely agree with you. It's super hard to just do the same thing over and over because I crave like spontaneity. I crave something different. The I crave the freedom, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing. I felt the happiest when I had the most freedom to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like specifically when I worked at TNT, I had so much freedom. Granted, I didn't make very much money, but like I could work out in the middle of the day on my lunch break if I wanted to. I didn't start till like 8 o'clock, so I could work out in the morning if I needed to. Like I
Mm-hmm.
got done at 8. I didn't go to bed till midnight, you know?
Right.
And so I just like I had so much time in comparison to now. I feel like I have no time, and so my routine has to be so structured to just get
Mm-hmm.
the things I need to done on a daily basis.
Right.
But
Structure's not bad, but you have to be willing
hmm
and
yeah,
comfortable to not just kind of
hmm
fall into that structure
yeah,
and that routine.
yeah, exactly. You have to be willing to break it for things that bring you enjoyment. And I would
Exactly.
agree that like when we did 5K a day last year, I did not get as much out of it as the first time I did it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have as much freedom because like I started in school and I was like had to do things with school, so I had as like less time. I had an hour and a half commute like total when I we started it with
Mm-hmm.
school, and then like I graduated and moved home, and like that whole movement process, it's and then having to study every day for my boards, that was my number one goal. So it was like that was put on the back burner, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
everything it was like it wasn't the main goal in my life, I guess. So I didn't get as much enjoyment out of it as when it was the main goal in my life, because the first time I did it, I lived for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the highlight of my day getting to do that. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I've noticed, especially recently with running more and different things like that. I get to do this. This is like
Mm-hmm.
some people can't do this. I get to do this. This is a privilege that I get to run. I get to play sports. Like I get to play football weekly. I can play pickleball. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
And so it's just like changing my mindset behind things of like I don't have to do this, but I get to do this, and that's been really freeing for me,
Mm-hmm.
at least recently when it comes to like doing running different things like that. And I enjoy the process a little bit more than.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm enjoying it a lot more at, after this,
Yeah.
after the first of the
hmm
year when we stopped the 5K a
Yeah.
day and I'm able to
hmm
I just feel like I can have a little more freedom with my
Yeah.
workouts. Like yesterday, I biked 56 miles
hmm
on the
Yeah.
assault bike, and that's all I did. But it was different. I was there for way longer than any workout really I did last year. But
hmm
it just felt really good, other than my legs at the end of it.
Yeah.
But
Yep. So, going into what I currently struggle with the most, this is kind of like a two-sided answer for me, but they tie in together. Um, I just really have realized over this past year, especially, um, I've allowed myself to enjoy my accomplishments and just be happy in that. There was always a next thing that I push my happiness off towards. So starting out, it was like graduating PT school. It was a huge accomplishment, but I didn't really enjoy the moment as much because I was like, well, I still got to take boards. I still got to
Mm-hmm.
find a job. Still got to do all this. Then finding a job, I didn't enjoy and drink up the moment of finding a job because I'm like, now I have to pass boards to even get that job. And it was like, pass boards. And now it's like, well, now I got to move. So I can't enjoy this because I have to move. And then I moved, and now it's like, now I need to pass my law exam. And then it was like, then I finally started working, and I'm like, now I don't have enough time to do everything else. And now I just want to make sure I have a stable, like, base if I don't want to like do this, and I just want $10,000 in my bank account. And it was like I kept putting like my
Mm-hmm.
happiness to the next thing. I'm like, I'll allow myself to be happy when my next goal hits, and then I hit my next goal and I'm like, well, that's not good enough. I need to keep going to this next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it was just a oh it was I just wasn't, and with that, the second part of this, I just wasn't being my authentic self. I was like getting caught up in the stress of the modern day life, and I was just feeling like I was wasting too much potential. I was trying to be too professional. I was trying to be too much of something that I wasn't, and I just wasn't taking the time to breathe and soak it all in. Like I just accomplished a goal that I've had for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much 10 years.
Yep.
And I just let that pass me by, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself for that. I mean, I'm glad I finally came to this realization, but I mean, no wonder I was so stressed out and anxious and worried about everything because I hadn't taken time to just enjoy who I had become and the journey that it took to accomplish that goal. And I didn't soak up that moment. Like I wasn't as proud of my like I am proud of myself for accomplishing that, but I didn't take it in. I didn't drink it in. Like
Mm-hmm.
me and you have hiked mountains before. You always know me. I sit and I just soak it in when I'm on top of that mountain.
Nothing better than
Nothing better
that.
than that. And I didn't do that with my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why did I not do this with one of the biggest moments of my life? Why did I not just drink it in? Why did I not just take the time to live in the moment, take a deep breath, and just really, really let it hit me? Why did I keep pushing it off? So I just once I realized that about myself, I have done a better job of taking the time to breathe, to realize like this stress really isn't the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It'll pass just like everything else. Time will always win. So no matter what, don't fight it. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey and be yourself through that. And if you do that, you're going to be happy. And so that's been my biggest struggle as of late, but honestly, just talking about it and doing things about it, I mean, I feel like I'm in a lot better place than even I was like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a constant, a constant reminder of to enjoy the little things, enjoy the journey, and don't get so caught up in what's next. Be excited for the future, but don't let it dictate your life.
Right. I definitely do the same thing with all my goals. Like when I finished the first marathon, I was like, this was just kind of like a stepping stone. I didn't really enjoy finishing it. And like when I got back into triathlons, it was the same way. I was like, this is just kind of something I have to do what I want to do. So, and I did the same thing with pharmacy school when I graduated. And so I think a lot of people struggle with that. But I like how you brought in like happiness with your answer because it's almost like the happiness paradox. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Where like you have that baseline and you're going to have terrible weeks and you're going to be down here. But no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do, no matter how poor you are, how rich you are, you're always going to come back to that same level of happiness. Like you're going to do stuff that make you go way up here, but a week later you're going to be back here. Even if you keep doing
Mm-hmm.
that same thing that's up here day after day,
Yeah.
you're eventually going to be brought back down to that same level of happiness you were
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Exactly. All right. Question number two. Why do you want to run an Ironman?
When I saw this question, I kind of had to laugh to myself because I've been asking myself this probably for the last 6 months. I don't know why I want to run an Ironman. I saw the video. What was that, like 2.5 years ago now?
Yeah.
3 years ago?
Yep.
When Matt on Yes Siri ran an Ironman. I mean, he had a little bit of extra help. I think it was Will Smith's trainer that he was friends with, and he's like, "Have you ever done one?" And they just kind of partnered up, trained together. 6 months later, they ran it or whatever it was. Something crazy. Obviously, don't have the resources or time to do that over here. Um, but that's kind of like what inspired me to do it. And then when I started thinking about it more, I think it's the same reason why, or one of the reasons why I stuck with pharmacy school when or just like anything difficult I've ever done in my life. When I first started telling people I was going to go to pharmacy, you could just see the look in their face. They're like, oh, uh huh, you're going to go to pharmacy school. And when I started telling people that about the Iron Man, they're like, hmm, yeah, you're going to do that? That's a lot. Are you sure? And I think that just kind of like motivates me. I always have to have. I guess here's probably the answer to the question. I got to reflect a little more, but right now the answer to the question is I just like to challenge myself and do something. And I think I'm always going to need this, something that most people don't do or can't do or won't do because they let their mind hold them back. I wasn't a very good student in high school. So, like, if you told 13, 14, 15, 18-year-old me that I was going to be a doctor, you would have laughed in your face. I hated school. And I didn't study. I didn't know how to study. But I wasn't going to let that stop me because I was told I couldn't do it, or people acted like they seemed like they thought I couldn't do it. And same thing with this. And I'm always going to need a goal like that. So I'm kind of scared what I'm going to come up with after I finish the Iron Man. But we'll
Hmm.
see what happens, I guess.
Honestly, that's good. Good. When it comes to me, I just remember, being in, it was probably like that, like 2017-ish time, and I was listening to Joe Rogan every single day pretty much, and he had Cam Hanes and David Goggins and a bunch of other guys on, and like I'm just like, holy shit, people run 100 miles in 24 hours. That's baller. That sounds so hard that like they don't even sleep and they just run. And so there was just like something about the ultra endurance community that just fascinated me. And so like I started running just because of that. And then I realized like triathlons were a thing. And then well, always knew triathlons were a thing, but an Ironman was just like that on steroids. And so I was just like it's like some of the toughest challenges that people can go through. And I just thought about it and realized like I just really want to be a better version of myself, and I like challenging myself and doing hard things. I want to hold true to the personal integrity I built with myself and accomplish something that I said I would. So it's just like I told myself I was going to do this. I've said it out loud that I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick through it
Mm-hmm.
because I just want that evidence that I can do things, that evidence that I am just I can accomplish anything that I want because when you have that evidence, it's just you feel so good about yourself. And I just want to separate myself from others and prove to myself I am as physically strong and mentally capable as I think I am. And
Mm-hmm.
so obviously I've gone through times in my life where I haven't been, both of those things, but it's like getting into a phase of my life where I feel confident and comfortable that I can do something like that. To tie all this together, there's a really good Alex Hormozy quote that I want to read off. Um, Confidence without evidence is delusion. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Give yourself so much goddamn proof that you are the version of yourself that you want to be, that you'll become them. Outwork your self doubt. And that is exactly what I wanted to say, but it's like
Hmm.
I didn't have the exact words to say that.
Right.
And it is, I just want a stack of evidence to prove to myself in here that I am the person that I am up here, and to show everybody else that I am what I am here and here.
Hmm. That's
And
probably
it's
the
like,
same reason why I do it too,
yeah,
honestly.
it's like I know I'm destined for more. I know I can do more. I know most people won't do this, but that's not going to stop me because I know I can keep going. Like, I have a different gear that I feel like most people don't have. And if I
Hmm.
don't utilize that gear, I could really like, I don't feel like myself because I'm not continually working towards something. I'm not pushing towards something, which is like, I don't always have to do that, but I need something in mind to be working towards.
Hmm.
Maybe that's just like what I don't know if everybody has that or if not other everybody probably has it for something.
I think
And
they
I
do.
guess yeah,
Hmm.
I think everybody has it for something, and it's just like when it comes to movement and when it comes to learning about movement, I mean, I went, that's kind of like everything I've based my whole life off of
Hmm.
since, starting my adult life. But that's just stuff I get, and I want to live the ethos of my career, and I want to be somebody that people look up to in that, and have a stack of undeniable proof that I am who I say I am.
He's got some unbelievable quotes.
He
I
is
could
one of the
just
most brilliant. I get,
I
yeah,
could probably scroll through his Twitter and whatever else he
hmm,
has and post quotes on for
yeah.
months and
And
like not run out of things to read because you would reflect on all of them.
the fact that he says that stuff and he's like, "Yeah, I was just taking a dump."
Yeah.
I'm like, "How did you just think of that on the toilet, man?" Like,
Some people are just
some
different.
people are just special,
Yeah.
and thank God for Alex Hormozy,
Modern day philosopher.
modern day porcelain philosopher.
uh, yeah.
All right, so the next question, you kind of ask me, this is a two-part question.
Uh-huh.
So, when you think of your future, what is the biggest goal slash dream you envision? And then who is surrounding you when you accomplish that goal slash vision? So I know you texted me asking for clarification on
Right.
this. So let's see what you got. Let's see what you rolled with.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of have to start out with. Um, I feel like it's almost two different questions, just like the goal and the dream part. Um,
Mm,
I kind of view a goal as something that is easily obtainable based
yeah.
off of where my life is now.
Mhm.
So the first couple things that like come to my mind as far as goals are completing the Ironman, which easily obtainable is maybe a little bit of a stretch on that one, but I think it's doable where I'm at right now in my life. I don't really need any outside factors or influences to help me get there. Or the other thing that came to my mind is just continue to travel and see the world as much as I can
Mhm.
with Gabby and my friends and family, and I guess whoever really wants to be around me. People in my life now, people I haven't even met yet. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to continue to see the
Mhm.
world as much as I can. It's probably the thing that brings me the most happiness outside of like
Yeah.
interactions with people that I enjoy
Mhm.
being around. It's so amazing to have been able to travel the last, man, most of my travel has probably been in the last 5 to 7 years of my life. And we go places all the time. So I don't know if the since I'm already doing it, I don't know if it's really a goal. So I guess I'll say the Ironman.
Mhm.
And then a dream I think is something, it's a goal, but you're not there yet. Like you got a long ways to go. You might need a little bit of
Mhm.
outside assistance, even if you keep
Mhm.
pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yep.
Um, the thing that came to my mind was retire by the time I'm 50 would be a dream of
Okay.
mine.
Mhm. Yeah.
It needs a little bit of outside assistance as far, and what I mean by that is like I'm going to need to make more money. I'm going to need to find a
Mhm.
different source of income, whether it's through this or Gabby's going to have to become a manager or I'm going to have to climb the ladder even more. It's
Yeah.
I can do everything in my power to keep climbing the ladder, but in the end of it, I'm going to have to land one of those jobs. So like that's not
Mhm.
something that's solely reliant on me as a person. I can do everything in my power to get to that point, but if I'm not in the right place at the right time, I may not get
Mhm.
to that dream, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense.
I'll just I'll wrap it up here, but and retire by the time I'm 50. I mean, like not working a 9 to 5, maybe have a part-time job for some supplemental income or some like contract work or wherever I am in life. But I still want to be able to travel as much as I am now or as much as we are at that point. If we have kids, I want to still be able to support them, obviously, put them through college, whatever needs to happen, and then continue to be healthy, continue to work out, run, bike. I hope I'm still doing triathlons at that time. Another dream would be just being some that 70-year-old that's sitting there in the morning of a triathlon. It's 1 or 200 triathlons in, and you're standing around there, and you see all these 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, whatever, getting ready to do their first, fifth, 10th triathlon, and you're just sitting there talking to them, hanging out, and they're all like
Putting them at ease, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
they're
Like,
all
hey, it's not that bad.
and they're
Yeah.
super like interested in you because they're like
Yeah.
you're
What got you into
yeah,
this?
and you're
Yeah.
70, like you're still doing this. Why are you still doing this? Like I just want to,
Yeah.
I don't know, I want to be an anomaly a little bit, but not
When I get old, I'm gonna
like
be real cool, sitting on the
yeah.
porch with a fresh pair of shoes,
Yeah.
telling all the stories to the neighborhood kids, letting them believe that I'm making it big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rip Mac. Rip.
Rip.
Uh, yeah. No, dude. That's awesome. I'm right there with you. I would love to be able to retire by 50 or sooner, but and retire in the sense where I have the freedom of finance, freedom of location, freedom of time, that I can
Exactly.
just do whatever I want with all those things.
Hmm.
If I want to pursue a business, I can pursue a business. If I want to just travel the world, I can travel the world. If I want to, have three houses somewhere where I can travel between those three places, I want to be able to do that.
Right.
But it's
That's
going to
yeah.
take a lot of work to get there because I have 20 years to make that happen. Like,
Right.
uh, but we're both in pretty great careers also to make that happen.
Hmm.
So I think the world is our oyster. And when it comes to my envision of the future, I see a couple things. I see myself like owning a gym and
Hmm.
trying to make my version of what I think physical therapy should be like.
Hmm.
And maybe it's not the version that everybody else believes in, but it's like my vision of it. So I want to try to make that come true and see if it's or uh, like repeatable,
Hmm.
and see if that I can build like a model for that and help other people, especially people coming straight out of school, start that for themselves as well. And so that's something that that's more of a dream because I've never started a business before. I have no idea where to go from that, and I know like my thoughts in my head are one thing, and like actually starting something and the monetary value and all this other kind of stuff, I have nowhere to go with that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a dream, but I also think it's a goal because I don't think I'm too far off from being able to start doing something like that and make it attainable. I just need to outsource a little bit for that one to see where it goes. I see us continuing this and just seeing where it takes us. To be completely honest, I
Mm-hmm.
think as long as we stay consistent with it, we're going to at least build up some form of audience. I mean, granted, it might take years to get there, but we're 5 years in, 250, 500, 700 episodes in, and all of a sudden we finally make it. It's we
Right.
worked hard. It was going to happen eventually, but
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't happen overnight. And as long as we're consistent with it, I feel like something is going to come from it.
Yeah.
Uh, I just want to continue to push myself physically, mentally, grow to be a better person. And I mean, it goes back to that Hormozy quote. I just want to keep building an undeniable stack of proof that I am who I say I am,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep growing. I think that's my biggest dream overall, is to just be a better version of myself each day and be somebody that a younger version of me would be very proud of and be like, I look up to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of just person that I'm like, I don't know, when I think of myself in the future, I just want to continue to be a better person. That's my biggest thing. It's my
Mm-hmm.
biggest dream. When it comes to who is surrounding you, obviously I see my friends, my family pushing me along, my parents by my side cheering me on. Like, my brother's not here, but he's
Mm-hmm.
always got my back, and I see a family around me. I mean, I'm not even close to that right now, but it's definitely something that I want to have, and
Mm-hmm.
I see that in the future, having kids and being able to build a life with them, and having a wife that helps me grow and become a better man every day. And so that's kind of like what I see myself surrounding. Like, I have amazing friends. I'm so grateful for all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
You being one of them. I and I just continue to see them by my side. I don't know, like, location wise where that's going to be or where that's going to end up, but I just want to experience life with my friends and family and get to share that a little bit more, because that's something I miss about like the college days, was everybody was in one place and so
Mm-hmm.
close. And now it's like everybody's all over the place. We all got our own lives and little things and this and that, but oh man, it would just be nice to have the means to be able to be like, hey, friends, we're take these dates off. We're all going here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't worry about the cost.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to do that, but that's a lot of hard work, and I don't know if I'll ever be that person. But we'll keep working on it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I know
More of a
I'll
dream.
have more of a dream. That's when
Mm-hmm.
I know I'll have accomplished the dream. Freedom of finance, freedom of location, freedom of time.
Yeah. I like that.
All right. What do you think of today?
It was good. I and when you're talking about like the podcast and continuing it on, like I don't see this ending anytime soon because
Yeah.
like we said in
Hmm.
the first episode, we just like we're really just doing it to better ourselves and become like be able to look into yourself and understand yourself better, I guess, in a way, and then also
Hmm.
understand the people around you. And so doing this is going to help with that. Filming
Yeah.
yourself and just like having conversations like this with some difficult
Yeah.
questions and different
Hmm.
people, asking them,
Yeah.
learning about their lives, like it's
Hmm.
gonna make you a better person.
And
If
I
you let
think,
it, I guess if you don't want to be a better person, then you're
mhm,
not going to. But
yeah,
I don't think we
yeah,
have that issue between the two of us. So
exactly. I also think, like, we covered it last episode, but just like being able to highlight our friends and do a better job of reaching out and getting closer with our
Mhm.
friends because we don't, like just said, we don't get to see them every day. They're all over the place. So
Right.
if we can have them on here and just sit down and chop it up with our friends, I think that's like the greatest thing ever because not
Mhm.
only are you now showcasing your friends to the world as well, you're also just literally getting to sit down and have a good conversation with people you love.
Right.
And then if we ever get bigger, we can invite people that we like admire on or people
Mhm.
that we look up to on and different things like that if that ever happens. And then that's also super cool because I've been like I've been reading your work or I've been reading
Mhm.
this or I met this really cool person. I want to get to know him more. And then you
Mhm.
become friends with them and all of a sudden you have the old friends, new friends, everything. Like,
Right.
yeah.
And
It's
it's in
just
a different context. Like we'll sit on Discord and like talk with people or game, and like those are totally different conversations than
hmm
something like
yeah,
this. This
yeah.
is, yeah, I just like how this level of conversation is versus that. Not
The
that I don't
long
like sitting
form
in
discussions.
yeah, not that I don't like sitting in Discord and gaming and talking, but this is, I like how this is.
I honestly don't jump in Discord all the time because we don't have more conversations like this, and it's hard to sit and have an actual conversation because it's more just brief things about gaming and stuff like that. And it's
Well,
not
yeah,
that I don't enjoy that. It's just when I sit down, I just want to talk. I'm usually playing a game that's not super invasive, so
right. Well, when we're not
um,
doing a super invasive
yeah.
game, then maybe we
hmm
invite a couple people we want to just talk to and do a different channel
Yeah.
and do something
Yeah.
like this while
Yeah,
we're gaming.
exactly. Yeah. hmm
Yeah.
All right. Spark cards. Let's see if yeah, these were the three from last time. All right. Is it my turn to go first this time?
Yeah,
You went first
I
last
went
time, right?
first last time, so we can mix it up. Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah. Did your family encourage you to take risks when you were growing up? How so?
Whew, that's a hard one.
I think in some regards, yes, but in other regards, it was like more play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, when you were growing I think it was when it was things like I was uncomfortable with that were like seemed like a risk to me like as a kid, but as an adult you're like, oh, it's really not that big of a deal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
going down a water slide or something like that, or jumping off a high dive and stuff like that, that you as a kid think it's this huge risk, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really not that big of a deal. I think I was encouraged to take those things that were pretty safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think I had to really take a lot of risks growing up because my parents just set me up for like I had a pretty good life. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to take a lot of risks. I think growing up though, even like as an adult, I think my parents have always leaned towards like do the safer option if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as parents, you kind of need to do that because it's like why would you want your kid to take this big risk that they can, potentially end up completely broke or whatnot, and then you have to take care of them. So you want them to take the safer option and different things like that. And so I think more in my adult life or young adult life, it was more about playing the safe card rather than taking the risk. But I also think that's their job. So,
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree to that.
all right, your question. When you were a kid, which fictional character inspired you to be greater and why?
Oh, fictional character that inspired me to be great. Trying to think what I. Oh man. I don't know if you really like recognize that stuff as a child. I mean, as an adult, if you look back on stuff like that, I I mean, there could be little nuances in different things. Like, this is gonna sound silly, but like Pokemon, like Ash, like always persevering over whatever he's doing. I mean,
Mhm.
they put little nuances in there in certain shows and movies like that that try to help inspire you, but at the same time, as a kid, you don't really recognize those plot lines unless you're like super high level of thinking, and I don't think a lot of kids are there.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, it takes your whole life to really get to that point, I think. So, I don't know if there's really one character, fictional character, person in my life in general that I could identify. Just, oh man, yeah,
Did you become the best there ever was?
not yet. I'm still in Kanto.
Still working on.
I didn't make it through the Elite Four.
Oh, oh.
I
All right.
feel
This is
that
the.
that's a
Oh,
hard
go ahead.
one, man. Yeah, I
It
think,
is. Yeah.
um,
I think mine was pretty hard too. Both of those
yeah,
were pretty difficult.
those were a
Like,
lot harder than the last
with,
one.
without having to like have time to think and write about it, that was a lot more difficult. All right,
Yeah.
last one that we're both answering now. What advice would you give to your younger self? At what age and why?
Invest in Bitcoin. Yes, buy that Bitcoin
Okay.
that you were gonna buy when you were you. I literally had it queued up,
We're like,
was gonna
yeah,
buy it, and then I was like, no, I can't spend $20 right now. But
yeah. How old were we? We were in high school, like
yeah,
middle school, high school when it like came out. And we're like, ah, that's cool, but when am I ever gonna buy this and use it on the dark web? Like,
right,
that's all you could use it for back then.
yeah,
But I'm with you. Me and my friend like figured out how to buy it and stuff like that, and then we were just like, nah, I'd rather use that on a RuneScape membership or something like
yeah.
that, or buy a Pokemon game, or and I'm like, God, I was such a
uh,
that $20 could have gone 20,000, 60,000.
yeah.
Yep, yep.
But in all honesty, I would probably tell myself at, I mean, like mid high school when you're starting to get mature enough to like understand things, just like always push yourself. Don't
Hmm.
um don't listen to other people. I feel like I've always been good at that. I don't know if my younger
Yeah.
self really needed to hear that. There
Hmm.
were definitely some moments when you're going through like puberty and getting older,
Yeah.
all the hormones in high school and everything, where obviously you let the words mean more to you than they should have.
Hmm.
But in general, I feel like I've always been pretty good at that, so I don't know if I needed to hear that. But just always push yourself, always have a dream or a goal that seems unobtainable, like becoming a doctor or running an
Hmm.
Ironman. Always search out knowledge
Yeah.
and just listen to other people. Like they have a good story to tell, so
Hmm.
let them tell it. What do
I
you
think I
think?
would go back to myself, like my 14-year-old self. Like my brother had just passed away. Uh, just gone to like transferred schools to go to different high school, and just like tell myself to calm down and just take a deep breath. Yes, this sucks, but it's temporary. Like you were blessed with an amazing brother, and you were blessed with an amazing just family that helps support you, and you will get over this, and it will be one of the greatest things that has ever happened to you. You might not think that now, but it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And it will make you the person that you needed to be and will become. So don't get caught up in your head. Get out of your head and keep moving forward. You can do a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do even more than you ever thought was possible if you just believe in yourself and find that confidence. if I would have found confidence in myself earlier on, I think I would be in a completely different place than I am now. That's something I've always struggled with. I mean, I've once again going back to Alex Ramos's quote now,
Yeah.
but it's so true. I it took me pushing myself constantly over and over to build that confidence. It's something that just didn't come naturally for me.
Hmm.
And I think if you can survive something like you survived, losing your best friend, losing your brother, seeing how it crushed your family, like seeing that impact, if you can survive that, you can literally make it through anything. It'll never get worse than that. It will never get worse than it is right now for you. This is the lowest. This is the lowest.
Hmm.
So, knowing that you can accomplish anything. So, that's what I'd say.
I like that. That's good.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap on this episode, wouldn't you
Yeah,
say?
I would say so, yeah.
All right. Well.
BRB, I need to go quite quick.
Well, we'll talk to you guys later
Uh,
and hope to see you guys on the next episode. This was another rendition of the Chosen Brothers podcast. Peace out,
Peace.
everybody.